we are now moving to our part 2 of DHCP, and this part 2 we are going to be looking at the lab. Now let's set up the lab together and then we configure it. We are going to use this router 1941, and also we have another one here. Let's also pick a switch, put our switch there, and let's also pick a PC, put it there. Now we are going to connect all these devices, of course using the straight through cable to the switch. So we pick our connection from here. I pick this cable straight through. You take it to your router. You're using Giga Ethernet. Then you connect to any port of your choice. There's no problem with that. We also connect this. We take it to this router, and also we connect our PC. We take it to this router. So now this one is going to be our DHCP server. DHCP server. And this one is going to be the DHCP client. DHCP. Let's say this is the client. And then this one is going to be the DHCP client. Let's say client 1. Okay. So for the DHCP server, this one should have a permanent address. So we shall give it an address of 192.168.1.1/24. So now what we are going to do, we are going to configure this DHCP server such that it can automatically assign IP addresses or IP information to these two clients. Now when we talk about the DHCP server, this one, it has an advantage whereby if you have many computers, let's say you have 100 computers, how long will it take you to go on each and every computer giving it IP information? That one will take some good time. It will take some good time. So when you have a DHCP server, one of the advantages, it saves time. It can assign all the 100 computers with IP information in less than 1 minute. So that's one of the advantages of having a DHCP server on your network. The second advantage of a DHCP server, it is very accurate if properly configured. You cannot find a DHCP server assigning the same address to two computers. So in other words, if you have a DHCP server which is properly configured, it is very accurate, and you will not have those errors whereby you have two computers having the same IP address. So let's begin with the DHCP server router. We are going to configure it. Now let's first of all check this interface here. This interface is GIG00. So I'll open up my notepad such that everyone can be able to see what we are doing. And this is the configuration I'm going to put on my DHCP server. Configurations. So the first command we shall apply on our DHCP server will be enable. Then we type config t, and then we put host name. This is very important. You have to give a name to your device. So the name of our device is going to be DHCP server. Then we go to the interface. Our interface was gig0/0. Give it the IP address, which was 192.168.1.1, and we are using /24, which is 255.255.255.0. That is what we have here. This is the address we have. and it is assigned on this interface, which is gig00. Now that interface, we are going to turn it on using no shutdown. Now, after doing that, the next thing is now configuring the DHCP server, the 6 steps we looked at. The first step was you exclude or you reserve some addresses. So let's do that. We shall first exit to get out of that interface. Then we type IP. The command, I've already talked about the command in the first part. So the command was IP DHCP excluded dash address. We are reserving these addresses 192.168.1.1. We are reserving that address up to 192.168.1.5. So what we are trying to do is that no client should pick these addresses from .1 up to .5. So we have .1, .2, .3, .4, .5. Those are reserved for server. So that was the first step. First step, we said you reserve the address. Second step, you create the pool name. Say IP DHCP pool. You give it a name. Let me call it R1 LAN. That is the name of my DHCP pool. That was the second step. Third step was to insert the IP addresses into the pool, and the command we used was network 192.168.1. This is .0, and we are having 255.255.255.0. So that is we are inserting those addresses into the pool. That is the third step. Then the fourth step, you insert the default gateway. The command was default dash router, and we say the default gateway address should be the address you configured on your server, which is this one here. This is the IP address we configured on our server, so it will work as the gateway for all our clients. So I'll put here 192.168.1.1. That was step 4. Then step 5, you insert the DNS address. The DNS address. So this one we are having, we are assuming the ISP maybe give us 8.8.8.8. Okay. Then the last step was to set a list time, which is lease. You can put 2 hours, maybe 30 minutes, and 3 seconds. Then we end our configuration. Now never forget to save. We can save using the command WR. So this is the command. These are the commands we shall apply on our DHCP server. So what I'm just going to do now is to copy that code and paste it to our router, which is working as the DHCP server. I'm going to copy this. I'm copying that, and then I'm going to go to this router, which is the DHCP server. I'm going to go to this router, which is the DHCP server, and we paste the commands we have typed in the notepad. So we click there, we go to command line interface, then we type here no. So you just right click and then paste. You right click and then you paste. Now as you can see here, we are having some kind of errors when we pasted. Oh, this was a wrong command. It was supposed to be config. I think you can notice that. So let's go back to our notepad file. We edit that. This was supposed to be config. So that is why it was complaining. So we copy this again, and then we go back to our router. It's still translating, so we give it some small time to finish translating. Now what happens when you type a wrong command where it is not supposed to go? At times you get such kind of translations, but later on we shall also be able to see how we can stop those translations. Okay, so I'm testing again. Yes, so now there are no errors, and let's now check on our topology here. Yes, what you see now, this link is already, this port is already active, and this one is still synchronizing, but it's also going to go up. So we are done with configuring our DHCP server. Next, we are going to configure the DHCP clients. So let's go to our, I think now you can see this link is already active. Now let's go to our PC and we see how we configure PC to work as a DHCP client. We click the PC, we go to desktop, you select this option, IP configuration. Let me repeat that. When you are configuring this PC to work as a DHCP client, you click on the PC, you go to desktop, then you go to IP configuration. Here we have two ways how we can assign IP addresses on PCs. You can either do it statically or you can do it using the dynamic method, which is the DHCP. So for our case, we are taking this option. Now when we pick this, you'll see that these IP addresses, they are now going to appear here automatically. We have this one is the, let me try to expand it. This one is 192.168.1.6. Now this one is picking .6 because we reserved .1, .2, .3, .4 up to .5. So that is why the client is not picking those which are reserved, and it is starting from .6. The subnet is using is that, the gateway is that, and the DNS IP is that. So this one shows that now our router is doing the work. So the last bit of this lab, we are going to look at the DHCP client. How do we configure a router to work as a DHCP client? So let's go to our WordPad, then we Notepad, then we see how we configure the router configuration. This was DHCP client. So this one, what we are going to do, it's a simple thing. We type enable configure terminal. We give it a name using a command host name. The name was DHCP client 1. So we go to the interface, which was gig 0/0. Now don't forget, we are configuring this one here. This is the router we are configuring, and the interface we are programming now is gig. I think you can see it is gig 00. So that's the one we are working on. Now here we say IP address. We put DHCP. This time we are not going to put the IP address manually. This interface will look for the DHCP server, and then the DHCP server will give it an IP address. So if said no, shut it down. we end, then we save. So this is how we shall configure the router to work as a DHCP client. Now remember, DHCP clients, they pick addresses automatically from the server. So I'm going to copy this, we paste it, copy, we paste it to our router, which is working as the client. So I'll click there, go to command line, then we say no. So I'm just pasting now. Yeah, that is it. So we wait for this link to go up. We wait for this link to go up, then we check and see if this interface has also picked the address. Now you observe that this PC picked 1.6. So the next IP address to be picked will be 1.7. Now the link is already active, so what we are going to do, we go to the router, we check. There are many ways how you can check for that. So let me just type show IP interface brief. I'm going to zoom this. Now show IP interface brief, when you try to capture this, let me repeat again. Show IP interface brief, let me capture this code. I'm capturing that. Let me take it to notepad here such that everyone can be able to see it clearly. Now this is what we got when I type show IP interface brief. You'll observe this line here, the one I've highlighted. This interface has picked this IP address 192.168.1.7, and the method we have used for this assignment is DHCP. So this IP address has been assigned to this interface by the use of the DHCP. So guys, that is how the DHCP works, and I believe you have enjoyed this lecture. If you have any question, you are free to ask. I'll be able to address it.